Hello, welcome to Claret and Blue. I'm Dan Rolinson, joined here by Matt, Kendrick and John Townley for the first time in what feels like a lifetime to do something a little bit different during the international break. I've tasked us, the three of us, with creating the ultimate Aston Villa footballer. Now, this idea sparked, and just before we came on, by the way, I had Wilf on my lap waiting for you two, and he was bashing the microphone, and I've got a clip of that. I'll put it in here. You can tell I'm not sleeping much at the minute because this is where the ideas come from. So you know those kids' books where you flip the pages and you have like head of a rhino on the body of a lion, on the feet of a giraffe or whatever. I thought, what would it look like? What would it look like if you had the head of Martin Larsson and the body of Stilian Petrov or whatever, creating the ultimate Aston Villa footballer? So this video might come with a couple of dodgy photoshops as well, but I've tasked the both of you and myself to come with different body parts of footballers equating to attributes and putting those with Aston Villa footballers. This will all become clear as we go through. How are we both feeling about this mad concept?
I'm more excited about how it looks visually, to be honest, than I am about any kind of Aston Villa chat around the edges. I think it's a true test of your Photoshop skills. If you can make this it's a bit like a photo fit, isn't it? Like when the police issue something that's been drawn together kind of sketchily. So I'm looking forward to it. I know you're going to go through the body parts. Whose hair is it going to have? Will that just come with the head?
Well, this is the thing. So I've picked out a couple of body parts in reverse order of picking the footballing attributes first. So like heading is the head. So you could have the hair of somebody else if you wanted to just mix it up aesthetically and give me a Photoshop challenge. So let's break down the categories I've got. So we've got head, heading ability, eyes, vision, mouth, leadership, brain, footballing brain, torso, arms, upper body, strength, right leg, left leg, self-explanatory. And for the sake of making sure it's definitely is football-related, we've got dribbling and finishing ability. So maybe say they're right foot and left foot, even though it doesn't really matter. John, you looking forward to it?
Yeah, looking forward to it. I think as Matt says, it's going to be mainly a test of your Photoshop skills more than anything else. And that's the main reason why we're here. But yeah, I mean, my choices are going to be like post-2005. So I don't know about you, Dan, but there's a lot of players I don't know, maybe in Matt's list that I haven't had the privilege of seeing or watching. So yeah, that's for the comments in the people typing below saying, why has John gone for this player instead of this one? It's because I haven't watched them before.
Yeah, and also the comments can get involved with their list as well. I'll put the template in the description down below in the comments, copy and paste it and fill yours out as well. Right, enough intro, I think. Let's get stuck into it. We'll do it in order that I read it out just. We'll start with the head of blank. So this is a player who was known for their heading ability. We'll get to hair in a bit, Matt. I don't know why you're obsessed with hair, given you've got none. But who have you both picked? Start with you, John. Who are you picking the head of?
I'm picking the head of, and to be fair, firstly, I'm not sure which position they're playing in, so that kind of skewed me a little bit. But I've gone with the head of Christian Benteke. Probably for obvious reasons. I remember quite a few headers that he scored. I was thinking, I don't know, like Martin Larsson or something, but because it's different, you're thinking, are they good in the air going forward, or is it defensively just winning every header? But yeah, I went with Benteke.
Yeah, this is the kind of the flaw of the format of this ultimate player is playing what position. If dribbling ability and finishing ability, if he's built like a goalkeeper, doesn't really work. I'll pick Martin Larsson, so I've gone for the more defensive mindset when thinking of heading abilities. I just feels like watching him when I was growing up, a ball went into the air from a goal kick or a free kick, Martin Larsson won it, like there was no debate. Martin Larsson is the head of my Frankenstein's monster. What about yours, Matt?
It's funny John saying a moment ago about players that he'd rely on me to bring forward players that he hadn't seen play. I've put forward a couple of players that I haven't seen play, that I'm just going off on reputation. So okay. I've picked Andy Gray, who I never had the pleasure of seeing play for Villa, because even in his second spell was very early on in my Villa supporting time. And I don't think he was involved that often anyway during his second spell. Seen some of the goals on grainy footage and heard from legend that he wasn't even the world's biggest centre forward, but he was able to kind of, probably, I wouldn't say jump twice his height, but rise above defenders, and just his technique. Yeah, I think he was one of the masters of his trade. So we'll stick his head in, and if he makes the cut, he's got back then he had a kind of weird haircut as well that would set that Frankenstein's monster up in a particularly scary way.
Yeah, I'm undecided whether we just try and boil this down to one definitive and we have to pick from one of each of ours. Maybe we put that vote to the comments instead and we just have three players at the end of this, so I'm undecided yet. Let's go with the eyes of. So when we said earlier about the head, does that include the hair? The head of Martin Larsson in mine, for example, doesn't include Martin Larsson's eyes, which is, trust me, for the sake of the Photoshop, this is going to be pretty horrific. So eyes is vision. I've gone with a current player, and I'll be honest, I've probably not put as much thought into my list as I should have. I picked Douglas Luiz. I think his range of passing is unbelievable. His vision is excellent. The kind of reverse balls around the corner. He seems to see things that other players don't. Sees things that I, as a fan, don't see. And think, Christ, how's he seen that ball? It's flying down to Ollie Watkins or whoever. So Douglas Luiz for vision or for eyes is my pick. Do you want to go next, Matt?
Yeah, I've gone for Gordon Cowans, who's renowned as kind of Aston Villa's finest pass master. So his ability to see a pass and then execute that pass is something that's made him. We've debated in the past, haven't we, where he stands in all-time Villa legends. He's definitely in the top 3 as far as I'm concerned. So I go for him. Sid would be my shout.
I don't really want to go after Sid Cowans, to be fair. I think Matt's probably 2-0 up, if that makes sense. Yeah, I don't want to even say mine now. I went with Coutinho just because, I mean, we know how good he was, and I don't think you lose. I mean, I don't know, unless your eyes get worse. I don't think you lose that vision and that kind of spatial awareness on a pitch. So I think Coutinho probably had that when he was at Villa. He was just lacking a lot of other things like fitness and whatnot. So yeah, I went with Coutinho's vision because I think if he was on the pitch, then he'd probably be able to pick out most passes as well.
Yeah, and probably a more fair shout for his Liverpool days rather than his Villa ones. Yeah, probably didn't see too much of it as Villa, but
he had the same eye.
I suppose. 2 Brazilians then for that category: Douglas Luiz, Philippe Coutinho, and Gordon Cowans for eyes. We'll go leadership next, which I've put as mouth for being like talkative on the pitch and kind of captain material. Because I've gone leadership as the reason for mouth, I suppose you could have put other things like you could have said it was personality or something. But I've gone Tyrone Mings as mine as leadership and my mouth.
Yeah, I think that's fair enough. I mean, I was going to go with Mings as well, again, because I'm kind of working on relatively recent times, but I went with John Terry instead. Spent 1 season at Villa. Again, I don't think you lose those leadership qualities. So, I don't know, say if he was at the club for 15 years, I think he would probably be, I don't know, one of our best captains ever. I mean, obviously that would depending on winning things, etc. But those leadership qualities, as I say, I think are something that you probably don't lose, like Coutinho's vision. So, yeah, I went with JT.
Matt, have you kept up the trend of going for players that were playing before John and I were even born?
Yes, I have. I'm bringing my Nan vibes to the podcast as ever. I've gone with Dennis Mortimer. It's the easy one, isn't it? Just because of the ultimate leader. I'm trying to probably force my narrative a little bit in the fact that I never saw Dennis play either, so I don't know how chatty he was, but I know that having met him several times since he hung up his boots, that he likes a good... He can certainly talk now. So I'm going with Dennis. I think we're already... If you do these as 3 separate creatures, mine's already going to be quite black and white, I think.
Yeah.
Sepia tinted.
Well, yeah, that is true, but also... As John said in the last round, 2-0. It's now 3-0.
3-0.
In terms of quality of footballers, you picked the best footballer so far. Who will be the best Photoshop? That's the real quiz. Next up is footballing brain. Now, I don't really know how I'm going to do this visually. Do I cut open the top of Martin Larsson's head and then have this player's head poking out the top of it? Who knows? As I said earlier, I am delirious. I'm going to save mine till last because I'm not fully sure I agree with my own pick. So for you two first, I'll come to you, John. Footballing brain.
Similar to the other ones, it's something that I don't think you lose. So I went with a player who I believe was on loan, actually. Probably only played like a handful of games, but I went with Robert Pires. Probably a bit of an out there shout.
Again, a free transfer, Matt? Was he alone?
No, I can't remember. On a free, I think. Yeah, but I think he was probably our first World Cup winner. I know we've got one who was we can lay claim to since then. But yeah, he was interesting time period. He was well past his sell by date, but I think his brain was still functioning.
Yeah, that's why I went with him, because his brain was still working. Yeah, one of the Premier League's best ever players, I suppose. And we had him, we just didn't have him in his pomp. But again, I think he was still be able to see things and spot things, notice things. So yeah, I feel like working down the body as we go, you're going to get more players who, at least in my list, could actually play football for Villa. Like I was even considering like Joe Cole and stuff, because I thought, well, footballing brain, they've obviously got a good one, but just didn't show it, I suppose, for Villa.
I've gone for Gareth Barry. I have.
Okay, yeah.
You know, his versatility, footballing brain he could have played, and he did play centre half, centre midfield, kind of wide positions, left back, and always never seemed under any real pressure because his brain gave him that kind of extra yard, if you like. Never the quickest, but he was one of the quickest thinkers. And it just reminds me, like John Gregory used to always kind of describe him as kind of being poker faced because he never really gave much away. So that brain was functioning and kind of being quite busy, but he always managed to be quite expressionless and quite calm. But yeah, what a player he was.
So for my pick for brain, I've kind of gone down the similar route that you've gone down there, Matt, in the way you explained Gareth Barry, and I've picked Ashley Young, and I've put in brackets, hear me out, because it's probably not the obvious answer for somebody who like dictated play, like you think of a good footballing brain, can see things. But for the same reasons that you said about Barry, played for Villa in 2 different spells, in 2 very different ways, a forward-thinking, creative player, loads of assists, really good free kicks, so you've got to be clever and intelligent to do that. But then to come back in the latter years of his career and play a totally different role, play it right back, play it left back, and be that kind of steady, calm head in a younger dressing room, be good on like things like the dark arts, that kind of thing, like overseeing his experience across a younger squad. I kind of chosen Ashley Young to crowbar him in because I wanted him in for my right leg or my dribbling or something like that, and I couldn't quite get him there. So for a less obvious answer, Ashley Young's footballing brain for different reasons than, as I said, like controlling the pace of a football match.
Yeah, probably a different answer and like valid, but I don't think it'll win Dan, unfortunately, on this category.
No, probably not. Next up is torso/arms, because I couldn't work out if the torso should be separate from the arms and whether the arms would mean different things. So I've kind of put like upper body, the body of somebody, including their arms as well. And for that, I'm saying his strength. So Matt, do you want to take yours first?
Yeah, I've gone for Christian Benteke in that, really, because he was a kind of powerhouse battering ram, bit of a throwback. I still do like a centre forward who can bully defenders.
Me too.
I don't know. Is it a kind of a dying demographic now? I don't know. I'm not sure, but the one I always refer back to, and I've said it about 15 times on this podcast, is just in bullying Chris Smalling that one time when he bounced off him and left him crying for his mum. So yeah, Bent, and I think the middle section that you've said with the arms, the shoulders, the torso, I think proper ripped Ronnie Benteke. So I think.
Is he topless in your Photoshop as well? Is it?
I'm not going to be drawn on that, but yes,
for very similar reasons that you picked, almost copy and paste in terms of an answer from a generation previous, or say generation in terms of football, a team before that one, and say John Carew. For very similar reasons, big strapping lad, he's bigger than me and you, etc., etc. So John Carew's arm/torso is what I'm going for strength.
Yeah, are the people around him topless?
Yes, also yes. I won't be photoshopping that though.
I went with Adama Traore. Again, for obvious reasons.
Probably there's a lot of crap footballers in yours. No, actually, that's not fair to say.
Yeah,
Terry and Perez weren't crap, but like, there's not been anybody in your side yet that was like in their prime at Villa, and Traore barely played for us. But I mean, if we're saying strength, that's fair enough.
Up until we get to the legs, that I reckon the rest of it doesn't really matter if they were good for Villa or not. Like, you don't lose your vision and you don't lose your footballing brain. And Adama Traore probably isn't going to lose his muscles either. Apparently, he doesn't even go to the gym, which I think's absolute calf. Like, that's impossible. He's probably the most muscular player the Premier League's seen. And to be fair, I was close to actually putting him, we'll go on to it later, but dribbling as well. I was close to putting Adama there because I don't think he can stop him. It's just a shame he can't do much or play football.
Do you want to explain what absolute cap means to Matt?
Oh, sorry, there's that. I don't know.
We've not got a glossary of these street terms. What is absolute cap? Is that what Edry Connor's going to win?
Oh dear, it's absolute nonsense, rubbish.
Yeah, I think does that come? Is that derived from if my son says to me, "You're capping," so you're lying or you're speaking, you're talking rubbish? Is that what it means?
Yeah, precisely. Bang on.
Where are we next? So we're into the I want to say the meat and bones of it then, but that's a whole different analogy if we go down that route. I've got right leg up first. Now, you could take this down many different ways. You could think of it from a defensive point of view, someone who's strong with their tackling or something like that. Or it could be someone who's right-footed and obviously scored a lot of goals with their right foot, or however you want to take it. I will go first and go with James Milner. And not somebody that was particularly like a right-footed striker who scored loads of goals for us or anything like that. He's probably pretty decent with both. both feet, to be fair, Milner. But I wanted him in my, I was going to say my side, but I wanted to have him represented in my player, just for kind of the work rate and the energy and that industriousness, if that's a word. So not kind of like famous for having a great right foot or anything, but James Milner, I wanted him represented in mine.
Yeah, I went with Ashley Young, mainly just his, I think Ashley Young's technique and the way that he could cross the ball, his set pieces, all that sort of stuff. I thought, well, we'll bash him into the team. It's one of my earlier memories of watching Villa would be Ashley Young just cutting in off the left and whipping the ball towards John Carew. So yeah, his technique alone would be why I'm using him as my right foot.
I'm going to go for Ian Taylor. He actually scored a few with his left as well. But think about why I associate Ian Taylor and legs. I've just got memories of him kind of just sliding in and kind of using that long leg to kind of poke the ball in or get him. He probably used both legs actually to get up and down the pitch, but he was very kind of box to box as well. So, and he's quite a tall, rangy kind of guy, probably before your time, but then used to be like Go-Go Gadget, Inspector Gadget, which was like this stretchy kind of cartoon character that could extend parts of him for whatever the occasion demanded. And so Towles has got kind of Go-Go Gadget legs, so I'm putting him in there for that reason.
We'll flip that then to the other side and do left leg. Now, for some reason, it feels like there's more options for left leg. I don't know whether it's because they just stand out more like left-footed players, maybe. Because there's so many right-footed players, I think it's hard to differentiate, whereas you think of like 5 or 6 really good left-footed options. So you two have already said Gareth Barry, I think, or you certainly did, Matt. And I wanted to have him as my left foot, but I wasn't quite sure. So I picked somebody slightly different just to change it for the sake of having a different answer, and picked Conor Hourihane, the left foot of the Championship years, rather than the O'Neill eras to talk about a different time. Great set pieces, scored a couple of great goals with his left foot, a wand of a left foot, if you will. So Conor Hourihane's left peg for me, I'll take.
Yeah, I went with Thomas Hitzlsperger. That was the first name that jumped out to me. And I don't know, I thought that's maybe what you would have gone with as well, Dan.
He was one of my options, yeah.
Yeah, Conor Hourihane's a good shout though. But yeah, Hitzlsperger for, again, obvious reasons, like probably more than 10 goals that you could plonk onto like a best Aston Villa goals compilation sort of thing. So yeah.
I've gone with Conor Hourihane's compatriot, Steve Staunton. Again, going a little bit further into the past, but yeah, he just associates somebody who can welly it with a left foot, but also finesse it with a left foot when needed. And Staunton kind of epitomised that during a reasonably successful era for Villa. But was it a successful era for Villa, given what's around the corner for Villa? You know, is that also just all going to be forgotten? But yeah, Staunton was quality. Probably got better things to do with your life, but if you get 5 minutes, just go on YouTube and look at some of the kind of screamers that he scored as well.
Tyrone Mings is left footed. Obviously, different eras, different players. Pau Torres might be in this list in a few years' time if he continues the way he is as a ball progressive left-footed centre half. I had Hitzlsperger, I had Barry on there as well, but yeah, somebody slightly different with Conor Hourihane instead. Up next, I've gone for, I didn't want to go like left-footed, right-footed, because you could have taken those as the same definition of left leg, right leg, just a right-footed goal scorer or whatever. So I've gone with a footballer tribute for their right or left foot. You can kind of pick either one. So we're going to go dribbling next, kind of the dribbling attribute. I'll let you take yours first, John.
Jack Grealish, very easy for me. I'd be surprised. I don't think we've clashed yet in terms of got the same player twice.
We have now.
But, yeah, I'd be surprised if we did. If we didn't, sorry. The best dribbler I've seen, like as in footballer, one of the best dribblers that I've seen live. Hopefully we get to see it again.
Yeah, it looks like he just sort of floated through the pitch, didn't he, Grealish, just gliding past players.
It's great, isn't it?
Yeah, really, really great. It's the first, yeah, you're right, it's the first time we've clashed. We've had similar players, but in the specific position. You may have both got Grealish with dribbling. Again, how I demonstrate that on a graphic, who knows? Matt, who are you going for?
I'd got, such an old man, I'd got Tony Morley in there. I even thought like Dwight York as well, with the way he used to move the ball, but you're right
Brian
in
Little?
terms of but Grealish in terms of that particular skill, I think I've never seen anybody like it. So yeah, I know it's a late change, but we'll go for the full house with us all three of us going for him, if that's all right.
Of the original categories that we mentioned at the very start, we're on our last one, but I've added one more in. Just came to me while we're discussing this that I'll reveal in a sec. The last kind of attribute I'm going for, again, it's the feet, I guess. It could be the head, however you want to take it. I've gone finishing ability, just so we can talk about some strikers. I expect, John, I'll let you take yours first.
It's not actually a player that I've watched before, but I felt like I had to put him there because, I don't know, I've already said Benteke. I would have said Tammy, but nah. So I went with Dwight York.
One of our best strikers. It's difficult for us to talk about him, as we've said many times on these kind of shows, because we didn't see him play live, at least. So yeah, an absolutely fair shout. I'm going with somebody who probably might raise a couple of eyebrows, but I believe that he will be a very good finisher as the seasons go by. Ollie Watkins. No, Ollie Watkins, which, considering that we've just filmed this after the game where he missed a very easy open goal against Fulham, doesn't look great. But he's got such a range of finishing, I think. He's pretty good with both feet. He scores some good goals with his weaker foot. He's pretty good in the air as well, like in terms of like redirecting the ball. He's some like really clever headers, I think. Obviously, he's got some kind of criticism from some towards him for not having great finishing. And there'll be loads of people watching this thinking there are far better finishers that have played for Villa than Ollie Watkins. But again, for the sake of conversation, I didn't want to go with obvious people. I also think if Ollie Watkins sees out the majority of his contract or the next 3 or 4 years of his career at Villa, we've talked about it before, he will become Villa's all-time Premier League record goal scorer. So to do that, you must be a half-decent finisher. So I think this will look better in 2 or 3 years' time than maybe it does today.
we can all make predictions like that, can't we? That nobody will ever. Who's going to be coming and reviewing this? In 2 or 3 years.
If you're watching this in 2025, let us know what you think in the comments down below.
Again, I'm going to force another of my favourites in there. I'm going for David Platt.
Okay,
just with the range of finishing. Scored plenty of headers. Again, I think was a competent finisher with both feet. To be that prolific as a midfielder, I don't think the Opta would have been providing kind of level of stats then, but I should imagine his kind of chance conversion rate would be pretty high. Further up his own body, we're going to have Sid Cowans delivering the passes, so they're on a wavelength when they were different people. So when they're part of the same person, they'll be even more prolific together. He got everything. He got a bit of everything in the way he could finish. So, and I like him, don't I? He's my favourite player. So I'll get him in there. That's the end of the categories that I mentioned at the very start. I think I will have done 3 Photoshops, which I will reveal at the very end. I don't think I'll have been putting them all the way through because that's far too much work for this. So we'll have 3 different Photoshops at the end when each of you recount your whole Frankenstein monster Villa player. One category I want to throw at you very quickly is away from on the pitch, but is needed to be a good footballer, and maybe a chance for us to give honourable mentions to different players for different reasons. The heart, again, how I display this on our image, who knows? But the heart of a player, the kind of the braveness maybe, or lion heart, however you want to take it. Does anyone immediately jump out to anyone for the heart of somebody? It's just a way of getting him in the team, to be honest. But I'll go with Paul McGrath. I think the fact that he was able to almost be thrown on the scrap heap by Alex Ferguson at Manchester United, and despite the inner demons that we've spoken about and everybody knows about at length, just be able to revive his career at that stage when he'd been cast off, to go and then to almost lead Villa's revival, to make Villa, help make Villa a team that could challenge, win the kind of PFA Player of the Year award. I think it was 1993 as well. That doesn't happen if you don't have that kind of determination and kind of dedication to your craft. Probably hungry for a football at the weekend, because he hardly trained during the week. But yeah, you might find players that kind of wear the passion on the sleeve a little bit more than McGrath did, but we've got to get him in there, haven't we? Yeah, of course. He's got to be in there somewhere. You probably would be unfair to pick him as like right leg or left leg, considering that part of his leg in terms of his knees wouldn't really work very well. So yeah, a chance to get McGrath in there, so fair play. John, you thought of anyone? James Chester would probably be the one from the last, 10 years or so, I suppose. Not similar reason necessarily to Paul McGrath, but a player that also struggled with injuries and kind of fought through it as well. Damaged his body like permanently for the cause of helping Villa get promotion ultimately. So yeah, I suppose he's, I don't know, like a hero for Villa fans really. And he wasn't the best player to ever play for the club, but a player that
wore his heart on the sleeve, and as I say, also made sacrifices for the cause. So, yeah, the ultimate professional, I think.
I was going to pick Emi Martinez as a honourable mention just because we spoke about him recently, John, about what he's gone through to get where he is and the sacrifices he made. He's now a World Cup winner. I think we'll probably, again, as Ollie Watkins' prediction earlier, if Villa are to be successful in the next 4 or 5 years and Martinez is part of that, he'll go down as like a hero, legend, whatever. He'll be a big part of any success we have. He's kind of come from nothing to something, so he must have a good heart to do that. The one I'm going to pick, though, is somebody, again, that maybe wouldn't get into this kind of thing for any particular football reason in place of some of the other great footballers we've spoken about, is Stan Petrov, for the heart and the courageousness he would have had to have shown to get through what he went through. The heart suggestion is nothing to do with his footballing ability or what he gave on the pitch, which was everything, to be fair. Blood, sweat and tears, definitely sweat. But off the pitch, to go through what he went through and to come out of it smiling and so kind of enthusiastic for life shows the kind of character and the person he is. So Stan Petrov's heart gets in there for me. So we've each picked 3 ultimate Aston Villa footballers. It'll be up to the people who are watching or listening to this to get involved in the comment section down below or tweet us who had the best overall player for whatever different reason. You can also get involved in the comments and share yours by copying the format in the description and giving your answers for each of them. Just a recap, and this is where the imagery comes out, everyone, if you've been waiting for this. Who knows what this is going to look like? Because as of right now, I've got this great idea of how I'm going to do it, but when I actually come to do it, I might not be skilled enough to do it. Matt, I'll let you go first.
Can I say a sentence that I never thought I'd say? I never thought I'd think, let alone say publicly. At some stage, can you superimpose John McGinn's bum onto my Claret and Blue monster?
I will try my very best.
So what do you want me to do? Run through my body parts?
Not your body parts.
Right. Cool. The head of Andy Gray, the eyes of Gordon Cowans, the mouth of Dennis Mortimer, the brain of Gareth Barry, the heart of Paul McGrath, torso and upper body of Christian Benteke, the right leg of Ian Taylor, the left leg of Steve Staunton, the dribbling of Jack Grealish, the finishing of David Platt, and if you could sneak in the bum of John McGinn as well, that would be gratefully appreciated.
I'm going to do mine next, so John can end, and then I can do the outro at the end of it. You know, a baby crying, so I'm keen to wrap this up as quick as possible. Imagine if for Christmas he has this book rather than the one with the giraffe on and the elephant or whatever. It's this abomination. So mine is as follows: the head of Martin Larsson, the eyes of Douglas Luiz, the mouth of Tyrone Mings, the brain of Ashley Young, the torso and upper body and the arms of John Carew, the right leg of James Milner, the left leg of Conor Hourihane, the dribbling ability of Jack Grealish, the finishing ability of Ollie Watkins, and the heart of Stan Petrov. Decent, that, nice. I think. I'm pretty happy with that.
Matt wins hands down, to be honest.
Does he? Does he, though?
I think so, yeah.
We haven't done the hands. We never did hands.
How are we going to do what would hands represent?
The goalkeeper.
Should we do goalkeeper? Are we all going to pick Martinez, though, or Bosnich? Is there really a talking point there?
Yeah, just add him in. Just stick some goalie gloves on.
So I went with the head of Christian Benteke, the eyes of Felipe Coutinho, the mouth of John Terry, the brain of Robert Pires, the strength of Adama Traore, Ashley Young's right leg, Thomas Sitzelsberger's left leg, the dribbling ability of Jack Grealish, finishing ability of Dwight York, and the heart of James Chester.
All decent suggestions, I think, and as always with these kind of silly podcasts, it's a chance to just talk about different things. Bring back the Premier League, please, so we don't have to do things like this. But it's been good fun. We'll have had those images on screen while you were talking, so my apologies for the state of what you've just seen. But thank you both for joining me. Thanks everyone for watching along or listening. As I said earlier, get involved, share yours with us as well. Thank you both. Thanks everyone for watching, and we'll see you soon.